You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, and welcome to Mission Matters Live, a program focused on promoting a spirit of mission among the people of God in the Archdiocese of Chicago. I am Megan Mio, Director of the Global Mission Office, and I'm here on WNDZ 750 AM. Our engineers this morning are Clint and Mike. Mission Matters, our show, airs every second Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Central. Now this month, we are blessed to have with us Sister Rose Ange Wulau. She's a Sister of Providence of St. Paul in Kara, Togo, which is located in West Africa between Ghana and Benin, maybe a lesser-known country for some folks. The Sisters of Providence were founded in northern Togo in 1975 and now have over 100 vowed members. They minister in Togo as well as Benin, Burkina Faso, and Italy and France. And of course, they have one sister here in the U.S. Sister Rose Ange has come to us as a student in the area of intercultural studies at Divine Word College. Divine Word College is in Epworth, Iowa, and is the only Roman Catholic seminary college in the country dedicated to preparing its students for missionary service. And Sister Rose Ange has been studying for 5 years already and expects to graduate within a year. So we're very glad that she's been here for these few years and glad that she's here right now. This is all thanks to a scholarship from the Divine Word missionaries, who are certainly friends of our office, the Global Mission Office here, and friends here in the Archdiocese of Chicago out in Techny. So Sister Rose Ange contacted me a few years ago to inquire about making mission appeals here in our diocese. She's just a few hours away in Iowa. And she's the only member of her congregation here in the U.S. And I don't know, I'm not sure if this is totally true, Sister Rose Ange, you'll have to say, but you might be the only sister who's fluent in English as well. So that makes it especially difficult for another sister to be able to join us here. So we're just glad to have you, and good morning and welcome, and thanks for joining us, Sister Rose Ange.
Thank you. Good morning.
Wonderful, and she's Zooming with us.
It's my pleasure to be here and share my experience.
And she has wonderful experiences to tell us. I gave you a little sneak peek of it, saying that she's the only sister here and the only one of very few sisters, if not the only one, who speaks English. So she's quite an adventure to share with us about what brought her here. So let's get started. I mentioned a little bit of information about you at the top of the show, that your sisters were founded in Togo in 1975. There's over 100 sisters now already. So I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your background, where you're from, and again, maybe a little bit about your story of how you became a Sister of Providence of St. Paul.
Thank you. Like you mentioned already my name, My name is Sister Rosa Ange Ulau from the Congregation of Sisters of Providence of St. Paul. And we are located in Kara, Togo, in West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like you mentioned previously, I am alone here in this country from my congregation and even from my family.
Mm.
So I'm from northern Togo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the second child in the family of 8 people.
Mm.
All my siblings are back home in Togo with our mother and some of our family members. Our father is late now for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have been religious for 13 years, and most of my ministry were based in Benin. I have served in 5 communities, and my last service was in Benin as a secretary in seminary there.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I came here.
So you've been in Benin. You were already in a different culture then, working in another country.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have many communities in Benin.
Mm-hmm.
My vocation story is short and long because my father used to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So among his students, one young girl was feeling God's call, and finally she became religious. And I saw her beautiful, so my vocation started from that younger sister. But it's not. I am not religious in a congregation, but I think it's the same God everywhere.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Had you seen the Sisters of Providence minister near where you grew up?
No, in my area, no. Even in my parish, we had one community in my parish, but that's a big challenge. That was a big challenge for me to enter in the convent because people didn't know, they didn't have any idea about the religious life. But they see sisters, but they don't know how that can be. So it was a challenge for me from my family and my villages. And I can say that I am the first religious from my parish now.
Wow. Okay.
But now, I am the first religious. And now, after me, 5 girls followed me. So we are 6 now in my parish.
Wow. It does kind of start with the parish, right? That you have that culture of vocations and service that young people are interested in. They have to kind of see it in order to envision themselves making that commitment. Yeah.
For my culture, it's difficult to let young girls to become religious because we have early marriage. So staying after 20 years was crazy for people to see me after 20 years not getting married, focus on studies, and after that leaving to go to become a sister. For them to wait.
That was a challenge.
It was difficult for me to face the challenges, but God is good. I am here with you.
But so many opportunities came from you becoming a sister, including your education and your travels.
Yeah. And when you feel God call, many opportunities. You have many opportunities.
Yeah.
Those people who were not close to me for giving me like a job or whatever, they started coming and proposing me. If you want us, we can give you this job, just to mix up your vocation. So all this, I said no. I have to be like this young girl. I want to be like her, and here I am.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. I have heard people say that Sometimes you do get challenged in your big decisions, like a vocation decision. It's you've got to be really confident. You got to really say, this is right for me. It's part of the discernment process. Well, I also want to ask a little bit how
everything is possible.
Yeah, I want to ask how you came here to study at Divine Word College. I mentioned you're studying intercultural ministries and continuing to prepare for missionary life. You can never learn too much. But how is it that you came to study here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I got a student visa from the Congregation of Society of Divine Word, known as SVD.
SVDs, yeah.
Through a member of a Divine Word College, a priest who was here as a student, and he's from Togo in Karatu, the same diocese like me. And because our congregation is very local and people know us more than other congregations because of the way we are open, we are new and young. So this priest is close to, he's the same village with my former mother superior. So when he came, he visited him and he talked about Divine Word College and he encouraged my congregation to apply. And so we did, and we got scholarship. When I came, it wasn't easy. Of course, new place with challenges. My first challenge was no English. I couldn't speak English, and I have to communicate with people around me. So it was my first challenge and biggest one. The second one is I didn't have any relatives, any family member, so it was difficult for me to express myself. And for us, when you don't know, with our cultural view, when you don't know people, you don't have to engage yourself in whatever they do. So I was always closed on myself. And God is good. He sent me some people to help me to learn English very fast and help me, guide me to this life now. And I realized that always when God calls someone, He gives grace and He provides strength and courage to withstand whatever challenge we are facing.
Yeah. Wow. I remember you telling me that story when we first met, and I could hardly believe it, because I thought you just arrived, you get off the plane, you're exhausted from a long trip, and you don't even really speak English much at all, and you don't know where to go, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's a true missionary experience, and you relied on the kindness of strangers who saw you and how you looked, even if you couldn't explain. And eventually,
I just show my papers to whoever I feel is close to me, because sometimes at the airport, people realize that when you do some movement or you react some ways, people know that this one is lost, or I don't know, or maybe God sent people for me to show me how where to go. So I met people at the airport who helped me, just showing them my papers. I remember when I arrived at the airport in Chicago, I was supposed to come here, but I couldn't. It was at night, and someone helped me to reach Divine Word College. It is amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, it's wonderful. It's a good sign. I mean, I'll just say, as somebody who lives in Chicago, it's a wonderful sign that there are kind and good people in the world. Strangers, complete strangers, who will help you.
And just showing people because I couldn't speak any English, so the words I can say is, please help me.
Help me, yeah.
So, please help me. So when I say that, I show my papers. Where are you going? Please help me, and Divine Word College.
That's all you.
People.
Yeah, And that's how
People are
you
nice.
figured it out.
Yeah.
That's
I
wonderful.
think God was in those people to help me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the whole journey. Okay, well, it is time for our first break. Time is flying here. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment with Sister Rosange. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Catholic Charities Golf Classic on July 17 is bringing together golf fans from all over Chicagoland for a fantastic day on the links in support of our programs and services throughout Cook and Lake counties. Don't miss this signature event that is being held on two premier courses in the Chicago area, Knollwood Club in Lake Forest and Shore Acres in Lake Bluff. Gather your foursome or just join us for the spectacular dinner after the golf tournament concludes. Catholic Charities Golf Classic is always a highlight of summer in Chicago for many people. We hope you'll join us this year. To learn more about sponsorship opportunities and register for the Catholic Charities Golf Classic on July 17, visit CatholicCharities.net.
I am a seminarian.
The church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
Welcome back to Mission Matters Live. I am Megan Mio, Director of the Global Mission Office in the Archdiocese of Chicago. And I'm here with Sister Rosange Willow, who is a Sister of Providence of St. Paul in Kara, Togo. She is currently studying in the U.S. at Divine Word College in Epworth, Iowa, school sponsored by the Divine Word Missionaries. And before the break, we were talking with Sister Rosange about her journey to the U.S., her journey to become a sister, and a little bit about her background, her family, and growing up in Togo. And actually, I'm hoping that we can talk a little bit more about Togo in this segment, Sister Rosange. I mentioned that you're the only member of your congregation here, that you're one of the few, if any, others who speak English. And that's part of the reason, I think, at least in my work, why we don't know much about Togo, because very few people speak English there. And so it's hard to have that communication. And there are few members of your religious congregations or dioceses that we connect with for that reason. But we're so glad to know you, because now you can tell us a little bit more about life in this country in West Africa of Togo. So tell us about some of the beautiful things, the blessings, and some of the challenges in Togo, please.
Thank you. We mentioned already that Togo is in West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's located in West Africa, in the west coast. It's bordered in the north by Burkina Faso, south by Gulf of Guinea, in the east by Benin, and west by Ghana. The population of Togo is about 80 million people. The capital the capital of Togo is Lomé.
Mm-hmm.
Togo is a beautiful place to visit, to go. It has numerous cultures, and we have 37 languages we speak in Togo.
37
and our
languages?
official language. What?
37?
Yes, languages we speak.
Wow.
And our official language is French.
It's French. Mm-hmm.
Apart from two biggest religions we have, Christianism and Islam, we also have traditional or indigenous believers. Which those people, they believe in voodoo and other things.
Mm-hmm.
And food is a part of the beauty of Togo. In all occasions, we have food and drink.
Mm-hmm.
We have beautiful mountains, rivers, forests, and our historical places, like slavery place, which we call Door of Non-Return. We have Togo is a intercultural country. Everyone is welcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's known as the palm line species and the hilltop of villages. Of course, all roads have a song. So Togo is not only beautiful, we have challenges too.
Yeah, of course.
We have economical challenge, political, natural disasters, education, and environment change because of natural disasters. Air pollution, water pollution, overfishing, and deforestation. Because most Togolese use wood to cook for everything, for building houses. So we love cutting trees. So we have challenge. Without the trees, no rain. So sometimes we are out of rain, and that leads to famine or starving for many families. Corruption and poor governance are part of the Togolese challenge. And talking can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fascinated by the challenge of deforestation and the use of wood for burning stoves. I feel like in fact, I think it was an earlier show we had here where we were talking about a similar topic with one of our missionaries who works in Haiti, and that there was a concern there about not just the deforestation, but the cost of having to purchase and the all kinds of things that go with burning wood, but that's the way most people do it. And so this particular missionary was looking for an alternative to that. But that's very interesting. And I think, too, I would imagine that climate change is affecting the community,
Climate
too.
change, yeah.
Right.
And all this, I think, is a lack of education. If people are taught not to do it, all you do is when you replace another thing, I think it will be good.
Yeah.
Lack of education is part of the challenge that leads to all this disaster we have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And really, education is one of the key ways that we can break these cycles of poverty and opportunities for.
And like I was saying, females are less educated, but now it's much better than before. And only male or men cannot do or correct what is destroyed. So it's all together. So if education for young girls can be involved, I think it can be good.
That contributes greatly to a change in a society, in a culture. And honestly, I would say it's religious women, sisters, nuns, who are making a huge difference there, who are saying, let's focus on the girls. Some, not blaming anybody, but I think that, of course, women religious are the ones who can say, this is so obvious, this is something we need to focus our time and energy on. So my last question, with just a few minutes before our next break, is what would you like our listeners to know about the people of Togo? You mentioned there's many languages, many cultures, different religions.
Yeah.
What else do you want them to know?
Yeah. Most countries in Africa have their names, the name of their country. So Togo, the meaning of their country. So Togo means house of peace or behind the river. So Togolese are very nice. They are kind, charitable, they are generous, caring and respectful people. They welcome everyone into the country. They are talented people in music, singing, playing soccer, which we call football. And they are comedians. They are talented, constructing houses with mud.
Wow.
And we are authentically simple and humble and hardworking people. Togolese are social. They live as a community and share everything together, especially in rural area. Most of Togolese are farmers and they practice traditional healing. Healing method. Most of them believe in traditional things like voodoo. Voodoo is a part of traditional healing. When you are sick, they may practice voodoo on you to heal you. And people in Togo tend to eat at home. Although we have a restaurant, we eat at home as a family.
It's a social thing to eat together. Right. I was just going to say, I think this is one of the lessons I've learned many times from meeting with missionaries from all parts of the world, including Africa, is that to be a true missionary, you really have to get to know the people and to learn this about them, how talented they are, how ingenious, how they can build, and how there's creativity and joy and hard work and the struggles as well. And pains of the people, but you can't find God until you really get to know people, a culture, their cultures. Well, it's time for our next break. But we'll be back in just a moment to talk some more with Sister Rosange. We're going to learn some more in just a moment. Don't go away.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship programs provide a free opportunity for young adults to spend time with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youth aged 9 through 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports every relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that can help young adults build confidence and enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. To learn more, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7970 in Cook County and 847-782-4224 in Lake County. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today.
This is year 44 for me teaching. When I started here, there were teachers here that had taught me when I was a student. Now I'm the old person. Right now, I teach junior high math. I love when kids find what I'm teaching to be fun and they get it. I see that light bulb go off and it's a thrill. People are always amazed. What? You're here for 44 years? It's hard for me to believe, frankly. I love what I do. Every summer I think, oh, I miss the classroom. Even on the weekends, I think I can't wait to get back on Monday and teach those quadratic equations.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Welcome back to Mission Matters Live. I am Megan Mio, Director of the Global Mission Office in the Archdiocese of Chicago. You're listening to WNDZ 750 AM. And I'm here with Sister Rose Ange Wolau. She is a Sister of Providence of St. Paul from Kara, Togo. She's been sharing with us about her home country of Togo, which is in West Africa. And this is where, of course, most of her sisters live and minister as well, based in Kara, which is in the northern part of Togo, right? So in the last segment, we've been hearing about what life is like in Togo, what the reality is, and the people. You told us a little bit, give us a little bit of a snapshot of some of the qualities of the people there. So I wondered if we could talk about your sisters now. You did mention at the beginning of our program that your focus, your charism, your gift to offer the world of the Sisters of Providence of St. Paul is hospitality and welcome. And it sounds like that's a quality of the whole country of Togo as well. So maybe because you were founded there, that makes a lot of sense. But I noted the St. Paul part, that maybe mission and going out, evangelization, sharing the good news is also a big piece of who you are as a congregation. If it's connected to St. Paul the Apostle, one who went forth after the resurrection to share that good news. So I just wonder if you can tell us about more about your sisters and the ministries that your sisters are engaged in and around Togo, please.
Like you were saying, our charism is welcome and hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Our charism is what is our ministry, which is based on our cultural values. We do everything African women can do and help herself.
Mm-hmm.
We operate several ministries that bring hope and healing to those in need.
Yeah.
All sisters respond to the needs of the poor, sick, and marginalized.
Mm.
We also care for orphans, elderly, abandoned girls, young girls, and people with mental disabilities. Some of our sisters are nurses and teachers. Our mission is to express and expand God's healing love. So we stay fast in serving all, especially those who are abandoned, those who are poor, and the vulnerable. We value compassion as Jesus taught us. We reach out and give comfort to those in need. We nurture the spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being of one another and those we serve. But sometimes this service, we are out of ourselves. Sometimes it is very difficult because of a lack of financial. We are limited financially. And apart from people who are working with us at hospital and school, we welcome everyone who are willing to help us. Those people who are working with us at hospital or at school have to be competent people to help us. But apart from all those people, everyone is welcome to help and work with us. Since we don't have specific activities, we do everything.
Oh, so you respond when there's a need. Your sisters will say, we have to do something about this. Yeah.
So through our activities, we welcome everyone. And this is the way we evangelize people.
Yeah.
We don't have a barrier of culture, race, whatever. No. If you are willing to work with us, just come. Better. We need some professional at hospital and school. That's it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about. I know when we talked before this interview too about ministry with the elderly or ministry with children. There's an expertise that goes with that. Ministry with people who are disabled or mentally ill. You know, you mentioned the marginalized, the vulnerable, those who are abandoned, and in some cultures around the world, and we know certainly that's the case here too, that people are virtually, if not actually, abandoned on the street. And it is our missionaries, our women religious, in this case, sisters, who will say, as I said, like you see the need and you respond, and you welcome a companion in that, whoever they may be, even if they're not Catholic, even if they're
sometimes
not.
For us, sometimes now that people know us, they just call us. Because you can see sometimes some older people, they are left because we don't have a nursing home. I think whole Togo, we don't have anywhere for nursing home because it's not a part of our culture.
Yeah, sure.
So when you are old or you have mental disabilities, you become useless.
Yeah. You're dependent on
Nobody
others.
cares about you. So those people we welcome.
Yeah, and
we
you
show
said
them our love. They are part of the society.
Yeah. But you mentioned, of course, you have limited financial resources, and that these buildings don't exist yet. Maybe. I wanted to ask too. I know your sisters. Your congregation has been growing. You're over 100 members at this time, and I'm sure it's been growing and growing since 1975. And that you said people see the work that you do, and so others may want to join, and or work with you. What are some of the plans that your sisters have, hoping for the future to grow and expand the ministries that you're involved in?
This is a good question and invitation to good people to join us. As a younger congregation, we have been working on many things because it's just the beginning. We are 48 years old now, and everything is new for us. We have to do everything by ourselves, and now that people are open to us, they help us. So we have many plans to work. We want to improve the care of our orphans, because so far we have just a small house, and we welcome them. Sometimes it's full, and we have to send them in our own families.
Wow, really?
For their care. And we want to improve education of young girls, because we have with our cultural view, when you are, like I was saying, you are more than 20 years, you have to get married. So from you, your family members can be the thing rich. So we want to improve young girl education. And we have planned to have our own house for people with mental disabilities and nursing homes. And if we can have those two things, houses and hospitals, it can help us, because so far when we cut those people with mental disabilities, they are running all over the country. So we try to cut them. When we cut them, it's difficult. You can see someone who cannot think too well. To cut that person, he tries to defend himself. In defending himself, he can enjoy himself and enjoy you. So we want to have our own house in Togo, so that we cannot sending them all the time in Benin, because in Benin there is one congregation there who has a house for them. And elderly, we want to make a difference. There is no nursing home in Togo. We want to have a nursing home to give our old people their last joy before they leave. And we want to open more communities in rural areas, in the villages, to extend God's love to them as a temple, our Saint Patron Saint Jesus, going around to evangelize and speak good news to others. And this is the will of our founder. We work everywhere, and we need clean water. We are working on cleaning water.
Clean water,
those communities far from the city, in remote area. We need clean water.
Oh boy, that's a necessity.
So those are activities we are so far working on.
That's a lot. It's big plans. It's
a lot, because we are young. We have to.
Right. Well, and that's
like that. That's why we don't have a specific activity. We do everything to survive.
Yeah. Well, and the whole point of a congregation too is to gather all the expertise, gather all the energy and the human resource of your membership and the relationships therein. You're here, you're working here, that we can kind of get organized by even just coming together and being part of this one congregation. Well, we're going to continue talking about this in our last segment. It's time for our last break. But we'll be back to conclude our discussion about mission in Togo, West Africa. Stay tuned.
Catholic Charities Golf Classic on July 17 is bringing together golf fans from all over Chicagoland for a fantastic day on the links in support of our programs and services throughout Cook and Lake counties. Don't miss this signature event that is being held on two premier courses in the Chicago area, Knollwood Club in Lake Forest and Shore Acres in Lake Bluff. Gather your foursome or just join us for the spectacular dinner after the golf tournament concludes. Catholic Charities Golf Classic is always a highlight of summer in Chicago for many people. We hope you'll join us this year. To learn more about sponsorship opportunities and register for the Catholic Charities Golf Classic on July 17, visit CatholicCharities.net.
Welcome back.
Es fabuloso verlos.
Dobrze jest znowu być razem.
It's good to be together again.
After so many months apart, pandemic capacity limits have been lifted, and we want to welcome everyone back to church. We can all pray together again. And listen as our choirs lift their voices in song.
We've been together in spirit.
And now, when you are ready, our doors are open wide.
Nuestras puertas están abiertas de par en par.
Nasze drzwi są otwarte.
And we're here to welcome you back to Catholic Mass.
Community is core to Catholic Charities' founding mission. For more than 100 years, we have met people and families where they are, serving anyone in need, regardless of their faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. As our world absorbs the economic, political, and social aftershocks of the pandemic, 50% or more of the 6 million people living in Cook and Lake counties have little or no savings. They are a paycheck away from zero. We are deeply grateful to everyone in the Catholic Charities community who partners with us to alleviate the suffering of the people we serve and offer them a better path forward. We are witnessing a message of mercy and hope to a world very much in need. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
Welcome back to Mission Matters Live. I am Megan Mio, Director of the Global Mission Office in the Archdiocese of Chicago. And I'm here with Sister Rosange Wulau. She's a sister of Providence of St. Paul in Kara, Togo. And we've been hearing about Sister Rosange's story, a little bit about her home country of Togo in West Africa, and a little bit more about her congregation. In our last segment, we've been talking about the Sisters of Providence of St. Paul and their ministry with those who are the most vulnerable. And as she said, they're open to anybody. They're open to work with anybody. And when there's a need, the sisters respond. And you mentioned especially vulnerable groups like orphans, the ill, the elderly, girls, educating girls especially, and of course providing clean water to communities out in the rural areas especially too. So, but we know that Sister Rosange is here with us studying in Epworth, Iowa at the Divine Word College. So I'd like to ask Sister Rosange if you could tell us a little bit about what it's been like studying here in the U.S. and perhaps, what this education and this time here, not just the degree, but all of these experiences you've had here have helped prepare you for returning back and continuing in missionary work. What kinds of things have you learned while you've been here?
Thank you. I can say that this education, this out coming from my country has helped me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot from Divine Word College, from what I am studying. It changed my view. It helped me to grow spiritually, morally, physically, and intellectually. Living as an intercultural community here at Divine Word College helped me to get out from my comfort zone and meet people from different countries, from different cultures. Although at the beginning it wasn't easy for me to adapt because of my limits in language. And it also helped me to learn how to adapt to other culture and environment. My view of other culture has changed. No more the idea of ethnocentrism. I learned to cultivate the cultural relativism. And I learned very fast how to switch and adapt to the environment in which I am living, and with tolerance. I can say that the people in the U.S. are very wonderful people, amazing people, nice, helpful, generous, and good listeners. They are hospitable people. From the first day I arrived, like I was telling you in the beginning, at the airport, this family showed me how the whole U.S. can be. And I have seen it. When I came with my limit in English, they gave me the tutor to help me for communication. And this tutor is the second one I met. Instead of speaking to learn how to communicate, she will bring me out to meet new people and talk to them. That helps me to improve and learn very fast the language. And when I do my mission appeal, wherever I go, people show me their love. They welcome me without considering my race, and the limit of sometimes my English is not as good, but they try to understand the main topic, the main problem I have, and they help me. I learned from them, and I think it's a part of my charisma that I have to practice more.
Yeah, I didn't mention, of course, you might assume it, but then again, Divine Word College is very intercultural. So you may be the only member of your congregation here in the U.S., but you haven't been able to live with other sisters, which is would be the norm, right? Would be what you would want to live in community. But because you don't have your sisters here, you are basically living with other religious men and women. I mean, you're living with the women, but that you're studying and kind of sharing campus with people of all different missionary backgrounds, congregations, and from different countries and parts of the world. So that's like a real immersion into an intercultural setting.
And this year, I think we are 17 countries we came from 17 countries.
Wow.
So you can see that everyone has something new that someone can learn from. So
from the
that's
other.
how we live here.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, and I also want to mention you talked about learning English and that that first experience arriving here. I've told you this before, but I'll say it again on the radio here, that you have such courage, and it takes courage to be a missionary. And I think you probably didn't have a choice when you first arrived, but over time you stuck with it. You stayed. You didn't run away screaming. This is scary. I don't know anyone. I can barely speak to anybody here. You really were persistent. You worked on it, and you stayed, and you met all these new people.
And sometimes the big problem is when I am sick, I cannot tell. It's like I become like a baby. I cannot explain what the problem I have. So
you're right.
I just show. If it's my stomach, I show my stomach.
When you're sick, yeah, it's hard. No, and that shows you. I mean, it gives you a little bit of an experience of that vulnerability, right? Of the people that you are expecting to minister with when you return to Togo. Two, of the limited access to care and help and people who are going to look out for them. You it's not exactly the same, but you've had a little bit of an experience of that vulnerability, being in another culture and learning the language and everything. So with our last few minutes here of the show, I want to mention, you said you're going to be making mission appeals. You are going to make appeals in the Archdiocese of Chicago very soon. On July 15 and 16, you'll be at St. Paul the Apostle Parish in Gurnee. And in August 26th and 27th, you will be at St. Teresa of Avila Parish in Chicago. I wanted to mention those two because those two parish communities are going to get to know you a little better in person. And for those who want to learn a little bit more, there is a website for your sisters. It's in French, but you can translate it online, which is great. It's providencestpaul.com. So ProvidenceSaintPaul.com. Providence St. Paul, Saint written out, stpaul.com.
Providence is St. Paul together.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, okay. And now we just have 1 minute, Sister Rosange. Tell us in a nutshell, what is your message when you give a mission appeal? What is one thing you want people to remember?
Yeah, I encourage people to be a good Samaritan to others.
Yeah.
We are not the same. We have 5 fingers, but all of them are not the same.
Yeah.
So if you see that you are taller than another person, help that person to stand.
Yeah.
And I don't encourage people only to help Togolese, like when I go to mission, to help only Togolese or Africans.
Yeah.
No, to help everyone in need. That's what is my
we're part of a universal
advice
church.
or my message.
Yeah, well, and it is your charism to accept anybody and to be welcoming of anybody. Serve whoever needs it, no matter who. Well,
it's not the quantity of the gift, but the heart you give. With the heart you give, with your love, can change someone's life.
That's how we come to know Jesus, is by serving and caring for one another. We meet Jesus in one another. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sister Rosange.
Thank you.
You are an excellent example of the courage and perseverance that it takes to be a missionary. So thank you. May your studies lead you to new opportunities to provide welcome and care to God's people, especially those who are the most vulnerable. Thanks so much for joining us. I remind our listeners one more time, ProvidenceSaintPaul.com if you want to learn more, or look for Sister Rosange and her mission appeals. Thank you for listening, and remember, always be on mission.